Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Pasquel from the Wolfram Research South America team, connecting live from Lima, Peru. One of our main projects there is the blockchain integration. So, all right. So I counted like 8 presentations this tech conference with the name What's New in X. So my title is not the most creative one, but I think it's relevant because blockchain space is like Christmas every day. There's always something new. There's always someone doing very interesting things every day. So I find that exciting. And that's why we have fun working on this. So what's new in blockchain? I'm going to show you the stuff we are working on, the stuff we are planning to release soon. All right. So as you know, we already have the Wolfram language connected to different blockchains. So currently we are connected to the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, and Arc blockchain featuring their mainnets, devnets, testnets. And we introduced some months ago the Blockspur, blockchain. So this is a blockchain for scientific research. It was founded by the Max Planck Society, and there's other institutions in this consortium. And so we do all these integration through our company, Wolfram Blockchain Labs. And so we work on connecting with blockchain groups, blockchain companies, and connecting our technology and basically following our philosophy of injecting computational intelligence into the blockchain space. All right, so let me show you what we have here for Blockspur. I'll make this a little bit bigger. All right. If you are wondering, Blockspur, they use all lowercase. That's why I don't write this like this, like it as this. All right. So all the Wolfram blockchain functions you already love work with this blockchain. So let's see just some basic information about Blockspur. So this is a blockchain based on Ethereum. It's actually an Ethereum fork, and they changed it a little bit. They modified the consensus algorithm and other things we'll probably see here. All right, so let's try something like blockchain block data. So with blockchain block data, you get information from a block. So let's try block 5150. And yeah, something cool I like about this blockchain is that you can actually see names here. So instead of miners, they have something they call validators. It's one of these main institutions related to the Blockspur blockchain. So we have something like this, and I should have here a block from other institution. Let's see. So as you can see here, if you already don't know, you can use a blockchain block data function with a block height or a block hash, like in this case. Yeah, you can see here the University of Applied Science, Heilbronn. And yeah, and so all our functions are integrated with the Blockspur blockchain. So you can do anything you can do with our blockchains, you can do with Blockspur. Personal favorite example of mine is doing some sounds with block data. Let's see if this works. Yeah, so you're here in a Blockspur block, and yeah, I feel like Jodie Foster in the Contact movie, listening for aliens. All right, so what else? We can explore transactions. So I should have here a block with some transactions. And let's get the transaction list property. This will return a list of transactions. So we'll just do a random choice of one of these. And let's say this is transaction ID. All right, so let's try the blockchain transaction data function, transaction ID, and we should see some, the information about the Blockspur transaction. So with other blockchains, we try to make everything computable. So you see like here, the timestamp is a time object. And we also support their cryptocurrency. So their native cryptocurrency is called Brox. And well, this is kind of boring because it's just 0 Brox. So let's try something. All right, so let's try a blockchain address data. That's another of our functions. And this one should have more information. Yeah. All right, so this one has a balance. So if I, oops. So if I do this and ask for the balance, I can show you here that, this is a quantity with Brox as units. One single detail about this is that if you try to do something like currency convert from Brox to, let's say, anything like Bitcoins, you'll get a fail message because Brox don't have a real world value. So our quantity and currency framework only deal with quantities that have real value. So like if you do something, let's say do blockchain block data, but in this case, we'll use the, let's say the ARC blockchain. This one has, so let's see. So the ARC blockchain works with their cryptocurrency called ARC. So if I try something like this, let's the currency convert of ARC Toshis to Bitcoins, and this should work fine because ARCs do have a value in the real world. But if I do, let's say, ARC and get something from their DevNet. So for their DevNet, they use a different kind of units. Instead of ARCs, they use darks. I like that name. And so darks are something like testnet Bitcoins. So they don't have a real value, and you will get the same error message. All right, so going back to Blockspur, they also have tokens. So when we start working with Blockspur, I remember they only had like some basic example tokens like A, B, C, D, E, F, and the rest of the alphabet. But I believe they have more things now. So let's try to make a word cloud of their tokens based on their transfers count. Yeah, so now they have, they now have more tokens. So I encourage you to go to their website and learn more about this project, and then go back to Wolfram Language and try that with our functions and our integration. So this is already available in 12.1. Documentation will be included in 12.2. All right, so I was telling you that we do all these things through Wolfram Blockchain Lab. So we talk to a company and we do some kind of partnership and integrate our technologies. But what about if you have your own blockchain and you want to connect to, you want to integrate your blockchain to the Wolfram language? So if you are familiar with stuff like, let's say, the function repository, where you can submit functions to the function repository or the data repository. So you'll be a little bit familiar with what we are planning to release soon. That is a framework to connect to your blockchain and integrate the blockchain functions we have with your blockchain. So for that, what you need is is to expose your blockchain through an API. So I should have here, let's see. Yeah, so I made this fake API to just as an example. And with this, I can show you how this works. So yeah, I just added some 3 basic endpoints simulating data from a blockchain. So like if I do something, so this endpoint should return information from a block. So if I do something like girl and provide a parameter, let's say 5150, yeah, and this returns some JSON data about that block. And if I try this, it should return information from the transactions in this block. Let's see. Yeah, this is working. All right, so let's go back to this notebook and try to connect to this blockchain. So let's call this just Wolficoin. By the way, so we try to make this as easy as possible. You don't even need to be an expert in Wolfram language to connect to your blockchain. It's better if you're familiar with APIs, but we even have, yeah, we have a sample notebook here that you can use to, yeah, you can follow as a reference to just fill out the fields and all that. All right, so let's try this. So this thing is asking me for a base URL. That's basically the this part of the URL that is not changing, and that should be, let me copy and paste this here. All right, so I have my base URL. You can add more details here, and you have some helpers, like add link to the blockchain documentation. But let's go to this part. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to connect to these endpoints I created before. And all right, so I have got to connect to this block endpoint to get information about a block. So since I'm getting the raw data, I'll just call this, I use this internal notation for raw requests. So let's call this raw block data. The path to this endpoint is just block, which is basically just this part here. And what else? I need a parameter that it's also called block. It's same name, but they are actually different things. So this is the endpoint and this is a parameter. So yeah, don't get confused. But I think that's everything I need to connect to that endpoint. So if I click save here, all right. So, okay, let's try this. So if I do something like raw block data, argument name, that's block, and let's try 150. Yeah, so I'm getting a result here. All right, but if you see this, you'll see that we only have partial information from the block. I also want to add the transaction list of this block. So for that, I need a second endpoint, the one I show you here. So I can go here and say add endpoint. Now I'm going to call this, let's see, raw block transaction data. And this endpoint is called, let me see, block transactions. The query parameter is, again, block. So it's basically this endpoint here and this parameter. So, all right, let's try this. Okay, so if I go here, so let's try raw block transaction data. All right, yeah, it's returning data. So am I done? I'm not done because I just connected to the raw data from the blockchain. What I really want to do is integrate this with the Wolfram language. So we'll have a section, as you can see here, blockchain transaction data. I'm just using blockchain data as an example. We'll have a section for each of our blockchain functions. So the idea is that you get the raw data from the blockchain and then follow our standards to display a nice computable output. So yeah, let's try that. So for that, already have this. So I need to complete this definition, which is just as easy as defining any functions. If I do something like module, and all right, let's see. So I want data from the block, so it's going to be block data, and block data is going to come from this endpoint. Yeah, I'm not using a fixed block, but I'm using this parameter. And I'm also getting the block, whatever, transaction data that comes from this endpoint here. I'm going to change this to block. All right, so I think this is all I need to get the raw data. So now the only thing I have to do is build my output using the standard things we use in our functions, like using a camel case, value for the keys, computable data for the values if possible. So let's say I'm going to call this the block ID, and that's going to use from block data. That's going to use, let's see, the property hash. So if I do something like hash, all right, so I have the block ID. I also want to display, let's call this a block number that comes from the height property. These are just numbers or hashes. So let's do something more interesting, like the timestamp. So if you see the timestamp here, you'll see it's just a regular Unix time, but we don't return Unix time here, but we return a computable version, so date or time object. So I'll do something like from Unix time. What else? So since I invented this blockchain and I'm a fan of Dune, instead of miner, I'm going to call this maker. And all right, so I'm going to extract this from the maker field. And what else? All right, so I'm getting all this from one endpoint, and I need one last piece of information that comes from the transaction data. So I'm going to create a transaction list here and do block transaction data. And the name of this field is TX list. All right, TX list. And I think that's it. So let's try this. All right, so if I try this with one block, yeah, that's working, but it's still not exactly what we want. Because, so if you remember, when you do something like blockchain block data, I'm going to use like this, and blockchain base goes to ARC. So with the blockchain base option, you choose what blockchain you are going to use. So instead of running something like this, what I really want is integrating this with the with functions. So once I submit this connection to my Wolfram blockchain, I should have an object and use it here as a blockchain base. And let's try. And come on, come on. Yeah, well, that worked. That's pretty cool. And let me just use something real quick. I haven't tested this, so this will probably fail, but let's try. So if I ask for a specific property transaction list with my new blockchain base, well, it worked. That's awesome. All right, so this is something we are going to have soon. So you'll be able to connect to your blockchain. And yeah, you should be hear from us soon too about how we are using our functions, our technology to like do some blockchain analysis, exploring blockchain data, and doing some cool stuff with all these blockchains we are integrating with the Wolfram language. And yeah, so thank you very much for joining us today. Now I think we have like 10 minutes for questions. You can also connect with me on social media. We have a networking reception later in our high fidelity virtual space. And don't forget that tomorrow we have cryptography talk from Daria Porechna, who is also from our team. That's also related to our work in the blockchain space. So thank you very much again. And I think I have to go to the Pathable chat. If you have questions, or you can raise your hand in the Zoom. Yeah, you can raise your hand in Zoom, and I think we can open the mic for you if you have any questions. Oh, thank you. Well, we have any plan for new public blockchain? Yeah, we are working on integrating a new big blockchain, and we are constantly talking to companies and blockchain groups to integrate their public blockchains. So yeah, you'll hear from that soon too. Well, that's a great question, Jonathan. We are working on a blockchain course for Wolfram U, and that's a very extensive course because it not only covers the technical parts of blockchain technology, but also the economics and social part. So yeah, that's something you can use once we release that. I hope that will be soon. If not, you can connect with me, and I'm happy to provide material and resources to learn more about this technology. But this course will be pretty cool. So yeah, I hope that will be useful. So that will be available through Wolfram U. So that's, if you go to Wolfram U, once we release the course, you should be able to see that here. And so we are planning to release that course as soon as possible. Yeah. Also, if you go to the Wolfram Blockchain Labs, I think I can paste this on Pathable. Yeah, so if you go there, you'll be yeah, you can also get news and stuff about the work we are doing. And just in case you didn't take note, this is the Wolfram U website. All right, so if there are no more questions, again, feel free to connect with me later during the networking event, or yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn or other social media. So yeah, feel free to connect. Yeah, you can find me with my name there. I guess there are no more questions. Again, thank you very much. Oh, are there any workflow pages in Mathematica for blockchain? Yes, we have some of them. Let me see. I have an outdated version. Yeah, but we do have workflows for, let's check that right now. Let's try Bitcoin. Yeah, so yeah, we have these kind of workflows. We have for Bitcoin, for ARC, and Ethereum. And we are actually producing more of these. Yeah, so you can see more of these here. We have cryptography workflows as well. But we are constantly producing content for documentation and for other stuff that shows our technology and makes this easy for our users. And I think I remember seeing translated version of this in Japanese. So if you prefer to read that in Japanese, I remember we have that available too. Yeah, so for the new blockchain framework and the definition notebook, we'll definitely have a workflow, and we plan to do a video tutorial and everything we can to make this easy for users to integrate the blockchains. Yes. All right, I think we can end the meeting now. Well, again, thank you very much